Hello YouTube, it is I, Aleczaender, and we are back again with another video about Leutgard and Teutonnia. And I didn't want to make another video. I told everyone after my last video, I'm done. We are done with the Teutonnia saga, but they keep on coming after us. And so this document that we're going to get into exposes that they had not only attempted, but succeeded in mass doxing dozens of Zaenderists for doing no other but being loyal followers of mine. So an anonymous source made this document. We're going to get into it real quick. But before we get into that, I want to show off my new Octavian flag that I obviously bought for myself from my Shopify merch store. If you'd like to buy one for yourself, you can buy one. The link is down below in the description. You can also buy hoodies, shirts, hats, pins. We have it all. But I want to get into this document because I thought it was over. I thought, okay, the Room Media video is out. Okay, the RG was tasked with Operation Stormwind to destroy me and ruin my life. And I thought it was over. I thought, okay, you got your video, you got your blacklist, you got your LARP speech about Operation Stormwind, and you failed. It's over. We can move on. Nope. Leutgard is not satisfied, and it seems that the entire RIS, or whatever it's called, plotted successfully to mass dox the Zaenderists, which is in-depthly, I guess, exposed in this document. So before we get into this document, I want to just show some other things because some of you guys are probably new. Like I said, I did not want to make a video recently. I thought that the Root Media video would be enough, or my reactivity would be enough, and that would soak up content for the next week or two. But we have to discuss this. So for those who don't know, Leutgard, I believe about 2 months ago, spoke to John Reggio and the Caddens to go on a crusade against me. We're not going to cover the whole document. We've already covered this in previous videos before. You can watch those videos if you're interested. But we know that 2 months ago, Leutgard spoke to the Caddens in order to convince them to go on a crusade against me after the Caddens had conducted a dox war against Teutonnia. So Leutgard told the Caddens that instead of attacking him, that as a sign of good faith, they should join the crusade against Alec unreservedly. We also know that 2 months ago, Leutgard gave a speech to his ruler guards, which, thanks to PretzelPilled for preserving the recording, as I lost the recording that I previously had from my intelligence, Leutgard told the entire ruler's guard in this audio bite that I'm about to play to launch a crusade against me known as Operation Stormwind. Take a listen to what he said in this recording.
This operation, Stormwind, which you are being entrusted with, is for the complete and total eradication of Alec and his followers from the platform. Their complete and total destruction. The destruction of their groups, of their Discords, of their Discord accounts, of their YouTube accounts, of everything they're using to peddle their lies and viciousness.
So Leutgard says this to his ruler's guard, which has maybe about 100 people in attendance. He then, 2 weeks ago, gave this exact same speech, although I will say probably twice as long, to the entirety of Teutonnia because the RG failed in accomplishing this task. A little over 1 week after this happens, there is now a 15-page document documenting the crimes of Leutgard trying to mass dox the Zaenderists. So we're going to dive into this document. The document starts off by saying that Leutgard has recently declared the total destruction of the pro-Aleczaender movement, Zaenderism, a bold public stance and a clear line in the sand. How precisely does the power enforce such a decree? One might expect a war of ideas, a vigorous public debate to win hearts and minds. We all know that Leutgard tried to entertain this idea before. He then sabotaged the debate, invited his friends, played ear-rape soundboard sounds and music, and promptly removed from the group chat where we were having this debate that he subsequently sabotaged because he was losing the debate. So, the Aldemanic Realm is a knockoff Teutonian empire that exists and is led by Zaenderists. It's not owned by me. It's owned by a bunch of Zaenderists, primarily a man named Casimir. Leutgard targeted not just Zaenderists, but members of this group because of the fact that the Aldemanic Realm has been acquiring a large following of people who are anti-Teutonian, but still want to celebrate the Teutonian aesthetic. So, the extortion targets not adults, to be exact, but rather minors. It targets minors, it targets children, it targets low ranks of Zaenderism, rank-and-file members who have joined Zaenderism as much as far back as 3 months ago. These are not high-ranking members. These are not adults. These are not people who are supreme fanatics of the Zaenderist cause. These are just random people that are in the group. Our first victim in this case is known as Victim 1. For some reason, they are anonymous. Well, they're anonymous, but clearly the username was not tagged. By the way, I did not make this document. This was made by an anonymous person. Likely a Zaenderist made this document, but it was not made by me. So don't fault me for the organization of the document. But you see, if the first screenshot says they're denouncing Zaenderism and its leader, Aleczaender, for pedophilia, grooming, doxing, and cybercrime. I want no part in it. I won't be standing by. There's another text chat log that says giggling. I assume they said that before they posted this paragraph. And then another screenshot that shows they had just joined the group recently, or the server recently, which means they had sent a total of 3 messages in the entirety of their time within Zaenderism. The next screenshot shows the same day, hey Reynard, sorry I'm going to leave Zaenderism, and the order state, I basically got doxxed. What do they have on you? Name, house, IP, school. We have another screenshot where they are the person in red just doing something. Did they attempt to recruit you in Teutonnia? You want a Teutonian position? I think so. Was it from a different person that doxed you? Actually, I think the red is probably Reynard, the blue guy, is the person that got doxed. It was the same person who doxed me. Aleczaender is one of the Teutonian RIS agents that was handling the doxing, I assume. Or you got doxed by Teutonians? Yup, can you answer this for me? Are you a minor? Yes. This is just one person out of several. Actually, out of a dozen. Several of which are recorded in this document. So, the next victim is someone known as Kaon. They have the name of my parents, my uncle, and my home address. They threatened to send pizzas to my house. A person by the name of Vane then says, I'm not capable of doxing. He then sends a screenshot by this person known as Kaon, who coincidentally at the same hour as they were getting doxed, told this person, I'm going to draft a resignation notice immediately. So Vane is obviously in the same group chat. He is in the same social circles as this person that is getting doxed. In the same hour that they're getting doxed, they are resigning from my groups. Our agents are making sure that your people in Aldemania are aware of you being a pedophile. Coincidentally, as I said, in the same hour, this guy is being threatened with doxing. This guy is obviously an RIS agent. It's proven in this document that he is an RIS agent. I'm sure they posted receipts of this being the case. Either way, we know he is one because he speaks for the Aldemanic Realms, and he's recruiting them specifically to, it's not Aldemania, sorry, the Teutonnia, and he's recruiting them to Teutonnia specifically. And then he says, endangering your members, I see. He then also says, sir, your entire officer staff is leaving. And then a screenshot of a person saying, I told you I'll leave. Let me finish something. Give it an hour or two. Well, of course, I say, wow, 2 people, it's over. Out of 800 Zaenderists who are leaving, we're finished. We're cooked. I'm being sarcastic. ArthurDomenskov is another victim, and he says to steal the spotlight from Aldemania or whatever, they're exhorting people to leave Aldemania. So this is a third person who is a victim of this. Vane says, are you ready? How sure are you that your people are loyal to you? People will start leaving. Triumph Teutonia. Vast, who is shown in the screenshot, is the Minister of Interior of Teutonia. At least at this point in time, he was. ArthurDomenskov was one of the victims who was getting doxxed. At the same time this is happening, he is offering this person a position in Teutonia. Really? What a coincidence. So ArthurDomenskov gets doxxed. They're saying if you don't want to get doxxed, then you should join Teutonia. Vast, Minister of Interior for Teutonia, shows up and says, hey, I'll set you up a position. Immediately after this happens, Thankfully, Iron did not go through with this. In fact, none of these people went through with the offer they were offered, aside for the individual known as Dumbly, who joined Galleon after they had threatened to dox him and had successfully doxed him. Kaon then said that they sent a pizza to their house, which verifies the information that was sent to him was accurate. And they furthermore attacked him because of his refusal to cooperate with the Teutonian intelligence. Kaon says, what do you want? Your betrayal of Zaenderism, the Order State, your renouncement, every single intelligence and info you have, Google Documents. We're not here to do harm. Did you know your leader is a pedophile? They then send a pre-written message saying, I, Keon, am doing Zaenderism and with Aleczaender. After seeing the truth, I can't stand by it anymore. And a bunch of other shit. Send this everywhere, to all your friends, and only until you have all the information, and send the resignation to every GC, so that you have done your side of the deal, and we will not harm you for it. Then screenshot what you've done as proof. They then proceed to send a screenshot that compiles all the information, emails, phone numbers, other stuff that is, I would say, sensitive information, but along with the message that says, don't waste my time. So these are obviously a bunch of people who are serious. They are making threats that are valid. They are not a bunch of clowns. These are serious doxers that are making these threats against miners, Zaenderists, Aldemanic Realm people who are part of a Roblox group, essentially. We then go on to the third section, the third case of this document, which shows a screenshot of Teutonnia, who is the Minister of Interior. You would know his name as Vast over here, and you can see in his groups he is a Realms Minister of the Interior. It says so in the group that he is in. So I ask him, what's the relation to Vayne? And he says, is that a name? He is obviously playing dumb and acting as if he does not have any idea who Vayne is. We know that he knows who Vayne is because he is friended to him in mutual friends. You can see it here, Vast, Vayne. And I said to him, so we're going to lie again. He says, perhaps. He is admitting to being a liar because he knows that he is caught red-handed after Vayne had tried to help the RSI dox several members. I then exposed this to him when he says, I have 313 friends. I don't keep track of each friend. That would be a very convincing argument if it was for the fact that Vayne's account was made only a week ago. Keep in mind that this chat log was only a couple days ago. So he is saying that he friended Vayne and forgot who he was a week later, despite Vayne being in the group chats where the doxing is happening with Vast. Also despite the fact that he had spoken to Vayne a week ago because they're friended. Also because Vayne is in the RSI as a member, as an intelligence agent. 3 flags that prove that they had, at the very least, had met each other, unless this guy has the memory of a goldfish. My new account is Teutonnia. Look it up. This verifies that Vast is the man in question, Teutonnia. And then he goes off on a whim saying that he has a severe distaste for spin-off groups. Obviously, making a spin-off group is a worse crime than mass doxing minors for partaking in a spin-off group, according to this guy's logic. Onrox is Vayne, by the way. He changed his name promptly after he had gotten exposed. Vast says that nobody doxed Iron. Of course, we know that Iron was doxed because his information is posted in this document. Doxing is leaking information. Nobody leaked his information. The irony behind this statement is that the information that was leaked in the group chat with over 9 people in it. The information was then promptly used against multiple people, whether it be the attempt of logging into their accounts through their passwords or be it sending pizzas to their house, meaning that not only was the information doxed to a group chat, but people that were evil leveraged the information that was given to them by these doxers to then commit harm and inflict damage upon the minors in question. So obviously this guy is a sick, psychopathic piece of shit lying individual. So this is the story that this guy is telling us. These are random people that are doxing people in the Aldemanic Realm. They're not Teutonians. They have nothing to do with Teutonia. They are random people. Vast is in the group chats with these people that are doing the doxing. All these people that got doxed, all the group chats, he's in them, by the way. But he has no recollection of the doxing in these group chats, supposedly. He doesn't even recall the names of the people that are in these group chats that he's added to. But simultaneously, he remembers that these people are being doxed and need to be converted to Teutonia. So he's in these group chats, has no idea they're getting doxed, but remembers to convert them into Teutonia, recruit them into Teutonia, for lack of a better word, while they're being doxed. It gets better. Simultaneously, he tries to recruit them into Teutonia because he boldly assumed that they left Zaenderism. That is the expectation that he wants us to believe is his role in this doxing campaign, that he is completely innocent. Luckily, thanks to our intelligence who infiltrated the RSI and Teutonia, we thank them for their service and loyalty. Thank God they're loyal to Zaenderism, because if they weren't, we would have never known this. We have proof that Vast not only was in these group chats, but that he had participated in the doxing of these individuals as the Realms Minister of Interior of Teutonia. Imagine my shock. Imagine my shock. Another screenshot shows that he is leveraging information on someone in case he backstabs us. We blurred out the information, including the Gmail address that he is going to blackmail the person with in case he is backstabbed. We also have proof of Vast having an intent to go after the Zaenderists, because he says, sick of these retards messing with Teutonia, leveraging that we are doxers. He's mad that we're leveraging the fact that Teutonia is trying to dox people in Zaenderism, starting with myself 2 months ago with the Cadans and the Regios. When, well, they tried to get them to dox me. They didn't go through with it. Well, Vast, if you're sick of people leveraging that your group is full of doxers, it would be a high IQ idea not to give in to the allegations by embracing them, maybe. You freaking retard. Here's another screenshot of victim number 2. I just got doxed by Teutonians. I'm unfortunately forced to retire now. They don't have much, but what information they have on me is worth concerning over. I just got home. What the hell? What the F? Another screenshot shows this person talking to the doxers. The guy's name is Yellow. He is also in a group chat with Iron Tyrion and Vukov, who he also attempted to get the defect after trying to dox them. He says, we can arrange it. Just be out against Aleczaender and make other people defect, and we're all good. The guy then responds loyally, saying that they're weird, not edgy, and can't make any direct points to actually persuade him that I'm a bad person. All they can do is threaten to dox me, because there is no concrete evidence that I am an evil person. There is more evidence of this victim being doxed, which shows emails, names, phone numbers, parents' information. At one point, they had even released the SSNs of people's parents, allegedly. At one point, they even mentioned that they had my information to that extent. Vast says, I have no idea. I got added to the group chats. Told they were going to be converted, and I assisted the doxers in converting them. But he had no idea that they were doxing people. I asked him, well, do you recall this chat log where people are being doxed? And you can see everyone in these groups are getting doxed, so on and so forth. He says, I do recall that. But somewhere in this chat log, I ask him, how does he recall the chat log? And he says, I simply recall it with no description. Because he doesn't want to tell me that he is in the group chat with this person getting doxed as to avoid getting exposed. And then he says, I do not remember the chat log. After saying that he did remember the chat log. So the lesson of the story, because you might not be following along that closely, is he is a liar. A lying piece of shit. A psychopathic, opportunistic lying piece of shit. My story is that these people in which you're referencing added me to group chats, stating that they were to be converted due to their realization that you were a child groomer. And I simply followed suit. Not sure what else you'd like to know. If anything else, please ask. He says, arrogantly. He says as if he had just epically owned me. Little does he know that an entire document was just made, which resulted in the entire purge and the entire collapse of the RSI because of how much of an optical nightmare this situation is. And really to say, are we surprised? Not at the least. Another example of doxing occurring was Dumbly, who got extorted into leaving Zaenderism. Unfortunately, they were successful, and he ended up joining a group called Galleon. We hope that eventually he can rejoin the Zaenderist ranks and continue his work here, but with what's going on, it's unlikely that will happen anytime soon because of the risk he is at. So, we also have a screenshot of Avalanche Ear being the owner of one of these doxing group chats, and in the description we see Chief Security Management Officer at Independent Arbiter 2 Anti-Degeneracy Theft Pedophilia Commission. We assume that that is probably a Teutonian department or organization. This goes even further with them trying to convince him to leave Zaenderism, the Order State, the Aldemanic Realm, among other groups that he is in that are pro-Zaenderist. He is also a minor, so this goes on and on and on. And we also have a screenshot of Leutgard saying, some members of the RIS have gone off doxing Alex members. I'm handling it, but I'd appreciate it if nobody lends him any public support on this matter. This essentially is an admission from Leutgard that there is a doxing spree going on. Now, do I know whether or not Leutgard signed off on this, whether he was a part of it? Well, there is no concrete proof that suggests this. But because Stelmate had exiled me on the theory of me being a groomer, not based on concrete evidence, but theories based on information they had, we are going to use the exact same tactics on Leutgard. We are going to reflect the same tactics on Leutgard by theorizing that he had something to do with it. Leutgard gave a speech, let's recap, 2 weeks ago, issuing a total crusade on Aleczaender, saying that they must be destroyed by any means necessary. He says this not only 2 weeks ago, but also 2 months ago.
Their groups, of total destruction. The destruction of their groups, of their discords, of their Discord accounts.
He also 2 months ago went to the Cadons and asked them to launch a crusade against me, saying things such as, there's a reason to fight each other. I'd appreciate we can do Teutonian spell out of my name out of any comms. I will focus my effort on this crusade against Alec. We'll make short work of him, considering it's what we already have against him. I am sure that we can make Alec stay away for good this time. If Alec realizes the Cadons are now against him, he'll say that I paid you for some other moronic bullshit. He's very nervous that I would have found out about this, which, of course, we did. Leutgard 2 months ago is working with the Cadons to dox me. Leutgard 2 weeks ago orders the entire Teutonic realm to go after me by any means necessary. And voila, 2 weeks later, or a week and a half later, the Teutonian RSI is waging a dox war on a dozen Zaenderists within our ranks. Leutgard is saying that he's handling it, but I'd appreciate if nobody lends him any public support on this matter. When Leutgard says this, who is Leutgard talking to? Well, this was a group chat that was actually between Root Media's staff and RCR staff. Actually, I think it was just Root Media that was in there. No Root Media staff, but a bunch of RCR were in there. And because Root Media is an objectively neutral source, and because Mike has at least some level of good in his heart, it's not completely opportunistic, it's not completely a vengeance campaign, unlike 4 months ago, they have the common courtesy to have leaked this because it is concerning. They have realized that although they are fighting against me, who I am the evil Christian nationalist, they have realized this has gone way too far, that Leutgard in some way is evil, he's conducting evil, and have the common courtesy to have leaked this to me because they disagree with what he is doing, resorting to radical means to justify the ends, or rather, radical ends justify the means against Zaenderism. So we appreciate them for their neutrality on the matter. Again, had it not been for the neutrality, we would not have the screenshot of Leutgard admitting his awareness, admitting that the RSI did go after not just me, but Zaenderists, miners, dozens of them. So can we really trust that Leutgard had nothing to do with this? And even if we can trust that he had nothing to do with this, well, can we really trust that Leutgard didn't even inspire his members to do this? Thanks to his rhetoric calling our group a hotbed of grooming, thanks to the propaganda that we're harboring pedophiles, which we all know that these people that were weird have been removed long, long, long ago. Can we be sure to say that the rhetoric that he is spewing, that it did not cause people to go out on a whim and commit these activities, these crimes against my members who are innocent in every way, shape, and form for just partaking in my groups, for partaking in a knockoff group? Can we really say that Leutgard is innocent completely? I don't think so. Thankfully, the document outlines some legal principles. We're not going to go through them. Obviously, if you want to read the document, it is linked in the description. But it gives a plethora of laws that were broken in this document, in this expose of what Teutonia is doing. They then give a little remark where they say, one fact remains, Leutgard declared a total destruction of Zaenderism. And in a remarkable coincidence, this declaration was swiftly followed by systematic, holy shit, I can't talk today, can I? Extortion of Zaenderists, many of which were minors, doxxed into leaving the movement. And then, in an even more remarkable coincidence, many were immediately offered position within Teutonia. There's an ultimatum here. Either we're to believe that Leutgard, the leader, whose own intelligence apparatus systematically reports to him, is so profoundly uninformed that a widespread doxing and extortion ring targeting minors, no less, is operating freely under his nose, or he is fully aware and condones these acts, making him the overseer of an online criminal enterprise, of which the document is titled How to Topple a Doxing Empire, which is a parody of the Root Media video, How to Doxing a Grooming Empire. They then link another document or screenshot, I guess it's no longer available, of other victims, of more information and whatnot. And obviously the screenshot was, I think, deleted or something, but there's also a testimony. So, I mean, there's loads of stuff in here that I haven't even covered. So, I mean, this goes on and on and on, you know, but this guy, this Aleczaender guy, Leutgard admits these are RIS agents. And you know what? This happened 2 years ago, too, with the RSO, with Frisky, Cairo, and all the other people that were part of that. Arzanin, who led the operation. This is not the first time that this has happened. When it happened 2 years ago with the RSO, it happened with Leutgard fully aware of what was going on. But we're supposed to believe that when it happens in 2025, in October, that Leutgard had no idea, complete unawareness, and what a coincidence. When it gets exposed to the public, when it gets leaked to the public, only then does Leutgard denounce it and say that he's handling it. And we've been told from the inside that Leutgard purged the RIS because of the optical nightmare that it was. So where does this really leave us with this whole situation? Well, a lot of people have told me, this. They've told me that, why do I still continue to talk about Leutgard? Why is this war still going on? Why is there all this drama and this shit flinging and whatnot? And to really answer the question, this is what's happening. I am under attack. My members are being doxxed. Every week there's another attack going on where people are either getting doxxed or swatted or in some way, shape, or form harmed because we are a dangerous grooming empire, right? Where we're putting minors at risk. That's the allegation. We're putting minors at risk. We're putting minors in harm. I'm a threat. I'm a threat. And so people are retaliating by saying within these apparatuses, within these networks, we are going to ruin Alec's life. We are going to ruin his members' lives. We're going to scare them by a dox war into leaving, into toppling his grooming empire. Which is ironic because this whole time we have done nothing but try to build a healthy environment where there are not dangerous people, where there are not degenerates. We are Christians. Some should even say Christian nationalists, where that form of behavior is completely ridiculed and removed from our community. Contrary to what people have said, we're harboring people. No, we're not. Where's Kavara? Where's Bra Moment? Where's Colt? Where are any of these individuals who were weird, who were degenerative, who committed acts that I disagree with, right? Because they are immoral acts. They're not around. They haven't been here in months. And then people retaliate by saying that these people are being harbored to this day, and then they go out and mass dox my empire. They mass dox my community. So you got people like ArthurDomenskov who are like, Aleczaender, why can't you just forgive Leutgard already? Why can't you just know Leutgard and, like, you know, stop talking about him and stop exposing him? And it's like, because, Arthur, there is a moral Christian duty to expose this shit to the public so people know what a piece of shit scumbag people like Vastar and Leutgard are. Because I'm not the bad guy here. I'm not the evil one here. I'm not the one that is cunningly going out here and organizing dox wars against Teutonnia and infiltrating his groups and conducting mass admin attacks and mass report campaigns. I've done none of that. The most toxic thing that I have done, other than exposing Leutgard for who he is, which these exposés aren't even that bad. I'm not calling him a neo-Nazi terrorist. I'm not calling him a pedophile. I'm calling him a gay piece of shit, egotistical liar who's trying to dox minors, who is trying to invite minors to environments that are degenerative. Call it grooming if you want. I'm calling it degeneracy. I'm calling it out for what it is. And it's not even half as bad as what they're trying to accuse me of falsely. I mean, I would say that it's worse than what I've actually done. But in regards to, like, the bullshit, like the lies I'm accused of committing, I mean, he's done far worse. But yet, people like ArthurDomenskov think that there are wrongs on both sides. Apparently, I haven't forgiven Leutgard enough. It's funny because as Arthur is telling me that I haven't forgiven Leutgard enough, Zaenderists are actively being doxxed. They're actively being doxxed. Pizzas are being sent to their house like it's Harry Potter. Like it's the scene in Harry Potter where mail is flying through the chimneys and windows. As Zaenderists are being doxxed, you've got people like ArthurDomenskov who are saying that I haven't done enough to forgive Leutgard. And that's why Leutgard is ruining the lives of my members. If you actually believe that, if you actually think that the reason that we're in this situation is because I'm not a good enough Christian, that I have not done enough, I asked for peace 7 times, you know, I asked things for peace 7 times, then you are lost. You are lost. Frankly, you are worse than Leutgard because you are posing as a sheep. You're posing as a good doer, saying, I just want to do what God would want me to do. I'm just saying what Christ would tell you to do. And then you're suggesting that I do nothing. You are literally suggesting that when my members are getting doxxed, when people are getting swatted, when the worst that could happen is happening, that instead of exposing it, instead of talking about it, and instead of trying to say, hey, World War II, I'm not the bad guy. Teutonia is rallying 400 people, and they have doxing operations where 14-year-old kids who want to play, I don't know, military LARP are getting their lives ruined because they are on my side. Because they believe that I am innocent. What do? Do we do nothing? Do we just say, oh, like how more Christian can I be to handle the situation? Let's be honest here. Because here's the alternative. The alternative is I leave the platform, meaning that none of these documents would have come out. None of these documents would have received a video or any attention whatsoever. There would be no antonym to Leutgard. There would be no alternative to Leutgard. You would either have Leutgard or nothing. Like, oh, IRF, that's the alternative. We're going to join IRF. We're going to join up with, Calabos's Octavium. Don't worry, everyone. Calabos's Octavium will be the new alternative to Leutgard. That will be what saves us from militant atheism. The alternative is I say that Leutgard is in the right, I'm in the wrong, and then we let him ruin everyone's lives. Seriously? That's the alternative. If you're a moderate person who does not, it's like, guys, stop fighting. It's like Pretzel's like, guys, stop fighting. It's like, this is not a war where I have my Octavium with 400 people being rallied, and he has his Teutonnia with 400 people being rallied, and we're throwing shit at both sides. He's doxing me, I'm doxing him. This is a defensive war. This is a defensive war where I'm exposing him as he's actively trying to conjure up radical, unorthodox ways to exterminate my people, to destroy my people, my platform, because we are winning the defensive war. You could say, oh, we'll just stop winning the war, which if you're like that, then you're just a retard. You just shut up, you're a retard, don't speak to me. But if you're saying I need to be neutral, it's like, yeah, I want to be neutral. Yeah, I want to be neutral and I want to just be left alone, but I can't. You think that Leutgard is going to just leave me alone? Leutgard knows that if he leaves me alone, then there's going to be an entirely new empire that in a year's time will rival his empire and will be way better, way active, way stronger than anything he could have ever made in the last 10 years. Do you think that Leutgard is going to let that happen? You think that Leutgard is going to just let me create my empire and win and succeed after he just put me on that trial and basically removed me from Octavium and made this 200-page psycho ex-girlfriend style document where he exposed all our DMs and every little secret about me? You think that Leutgard's just going to say, oh, well, Aleczaender wants to be left alone to build his empire. I guess I'll respect his wishes. You gotta have the lowest IQ known to mankind if you think that Leutgard's just gonna, not care like that. You really have got to. Because Leutgard, he wants me dead. Do you really think that, if you're someone that knows who if you've met Leutgard and talked to him, and you've heard the way he talks about people, you've heard the way he brags about people when they die, he's obviously an evil person. He's an evil-hearted person. He celebrates the death of people when they die. I'm not going to give any names, okay? I'm not going to say that he celebrated Charlie Kirk's death, although he probably did. He probably did, knowing who he is. Do you really think that if I, died one day, that Leutgard would just, withdraw everything, and I'd be the next Roblox Johnny, and he'd have respect for me or something? This guy wants me dead. He wants he wants everything to be destroyed by any means necessary. He just won't say that openly because it's bad optics. That's what Leutgard is. But if you're someone who's moderate, if you're watching this and you're a moderate neutralist, you're one of those PretzelPilled people who thinks that there's wrongs on both sides, I don't know what to say. how many more documents does it take on Leutgard until you realize that maybe I'm not that bad? Like, I mean, at the very least, say that he's more evil. And because he's more evil, we should unify against him. Like, at the very least, that's all you gotta do. But if you're like, you know, oh, they're both evil. They both deserve to be destroyed. Aleczaender is making expose documents. He's destroying Leutgard's good name by making documents on him and by making knockoff. Aleczaender's making knockoff Teutonias. He must lose everything. He made a group that's exactly like Teutonia. And for that, death penalty. Kill this man. Aleczaender, how dare you respond to Leutgard doxing your members by endorsing the Aldemanic Realm? How dare you? There are people that actually think that way. I was in this group chat, and there was a guy who literally said that. They're literally like, you know, oh, you know, I can see Leutgard's point of view. You're making groups based on Teutonia and stealing his members, and that's like really bad. And I'm sitting there like, oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, whoops. Sorry. I'm stealing Leutgard's members. Whoops. I guess he deserves to dox me. Yeah, go ahead and post my members' full name, phone number, email, send them a hot pizza to their house because Leutgard's losing members to me. There's another guy, ArthurDomenskov, he's the one that's harping on about being a better Christian. I hope they watch this video because some of these people that talk to me and play devil's advocate, it's like, where do I even begin? Like, do you even possess a functioning brain? Do you even possess the ability to comprehend, like, what's going on with the situation and realize that, like, this guy is literally, you know, going ham. He's trying to find anything he can do to destroy me. And I'm playing fair game. I'm playing by rules and principles and saying, like, I'm not going to cross that line. I'm not going to cross that line. He's, like, talking to a 17-year-old saying, come drink with me. And I'm saying, yeah, he's not a pedophile for that. Yeah, he's not a groomer for that. You know, he's just a weirdo for that, who's encouraging people to drink alcohol. And he's bragging about pounding twinks left and right to minors. Like, it's just, I'm saying that's weird. If I went into my like chat and said, yeah, I just like premaritally like railed the shit out of this barely 18-year-old trad girl, you know, and she liked it to my members. If I bragged about that in my chat, I'd be getting called the worst things ever. There'd be calls for my death. There'd be calls for me to be swatted. There would be like a 500-page document analyzing this like screenshot. You know, I would have my life in shambles. I'd be like getting people would come to my house, they'd find where I live, find my house, and they'd be throwing rocks through it. How dare you, you filthy pedophile? How dare you groom that 18-year-old into premarital sex or something? But Leutgard does it to a twink. Leutgard does it to a twink, which is worse because it's a man. So he's conducting sodomy on a twink. We hope that they're of age. I call him out for being weird, and then people say I slander his name. Yeah. After everything that this guy has said about me, I can't even call him out for like having gay anal sex with twinks and inviting 17-year-olds to go drinking with him. If I do that, then I'm doing the same thing he's doing. There's like a billion screenshots of like doxing. There's like concrete evidence of doxing. There's more screenshots of Leutgard doing this shit than there is of me. Like, you guys realize that? Like, yeah, I know that the RCR document has like 300 pages, but do you realize that there's only like 20 pages that talk about me in that document? Like, this has 15 pages, this has 20 pages. There's another document that has like 12 pages. There's like 30 other documents that have more than 100 pages. Like, there's combined, I shit you not, like 600-page documents. There are combined Like, triple the size of the RCR document is on this guy. I rest the case. I rest my case. I think I've hit the hammer on the head. So that's Leutgard. I'm hoping this will be the last video because I'm getting tired of talking about this guy. I'm getting really tired of making videos exposing this guy because I want to move on. And this psycho retard is like, I live rent free in his head, and his minions are just doxing on a whim. You know, at least if my members did that, I'd ban them. I had a guy who was literally talking about Rising Calibos. He was literally saying like, oh, Cat and W, this guy got doxed, and he got banned for that. He got banned for like talking about it, not even like doxing him. They get banned for talking about Rising Calibos, who called me a groom, who called me a number of things that were in bad taste. And I did him the common courtesy of banning someone for talking about his dox. People can even do that for me because people just want to win. And they have no sense of empathy, which is honestly is what it is. This is the platform I signed up for, so I'm not mad about it. I'm just saying. What I'm saying when I'm laying here is I do that. I play nice guy, and then people say I'm not being nice enough. And it's like, how much more nicer can I be? And here's the truth here. It's not that these people actually don't think that I'm being nice enough. The real reason people like ArthurDomenskov feel this way is because they're trying to find any reason in existence to say that I'm not right. Because they are opportunists and they're scared of backlash. Because they are scared to admit that I'm right and then get hounded on for it. So they cope by saying like, oh, I gotta find a reason not like this guy. Well, I'm a Christian nationalist just like him. I'm far right just like him. I don't think he did anything wrong. Like, I think that he's innocent in every regard. Oh, I have an idea. He wasn't far right enough. He wasn't Christian nationalist enough. Oh, I'll use that one. So that way when all my friends say that he's an evil pedo, I'll say, yeah, I don't like him either. He wasn't Christian enough. Like that's genuinely what goes through these people's minds. And it's like, why can't you just have a spine? Why can't you just have a spine and be loyal to me? Is what it is. You know, we're playing on a hardcore difficulty, and we're still going to win because God did. We're playing on the hardest difficulty in man in this forsaken Roblox platform. And you know what? We are still going to win regardless. We are still going to prevail regardless. And that will hit harder than if 1,000 ArthurDomenskov signed up and joined my cause the day I got trialed. Because you know what? None of this would be significant if I would have, the day I got trialed, and I achieved everything over in that day, over again, it would mean nothing. Then if I were to struggle for 6 months straight, for 4 months straight, get betrayed by half of my following, make a comeback, regain that following later, and then say God did, and make everyone realize that God was in control the whole time. So that they can go on and trust God just like I did. That is a more powerful thing than if we were to win the day we got, if we were to win the trial, not lose anything and overcome that. God did. If anything, God did. So thank you all for watching. This was a little bit different of a format. I kind of went off the rails. I kind of went, more personal about it this time. I kind of went off, for lack of a better word. But, it's like someone's got to say it. People always say, you always toot your own horn. Yeah, because who else is going to say it? You think that Root Media is going to toot the horn for me? You think that RCR Mike is going to go and clear my name and say this and make these documents? You think that Rising Calibos or USM or IRF or these other irrelevant massive groups are going to give a shit about this? who else is going to stick out for me? Who else has a spine? No one. No one does. That's why we have a fanatical following of people that will die for the, metaphorically speaking, die for the cause, for the Zaenderist cause, for the cause of righteousness and justice and God, for the banner of God and the glory of God. That's our cause. We're the good guys. And we're demonstrating that in real time, in case you forgot, or in case you didn't believe it. So you better believe it. You better believe it because, I mean, look around you. Look at these documents. It's all in clear sight. You don't require much faith to realize this shit. I mean, it's all in plain view what's going on here. So that'll be all for me for tonight. Like I said, I didn't plan on doing this video. I kind of just threw on a shirt and did this because it needs to be said. If I don't do it now, I probably won't do it later. So here we are. But thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this off-the-cuff moment with Aleczaender. And stay tuned for more content. We're not done. We're not finished. PretzelPilled, you're next, okay? PretzelPilled, if you're watching this, okay, you're next, buddy. So thank you all for watching. Have a great rest of your night, and we will see you all soon. God bless.